We are counting down the 10 most outrageous illegal modifications that make ordinary sailboats fly. From stealthy material swaps and hydrodynamic tricks to banned ballast systems and high-stakes safety shortcuts, these secrets push the boundaries of speed and the law. Some offer huge performance boosts, others risk catastrophic failure, but all have landed sailors in hot water. Which rule-breaking hack is the most extreme? Let's begin with number 10. Mandatory safety gear is the first thing inspectors check before a race. Life rafts, spare anchors, and fire extinguishers are all on the Coast Guard's required list, but some crews have been caught removing this equipment the moment inspections end, tossing heavy items ashore to shave a few pounds. The speed advantage is almost nothing, maybe a fraction of a knot. The risk is everything. If disaster strikes, missing a life raft or a fire suppression system turns a simple emergency into a deadly crisis. Insurance companies routinely deny claims when required gear is missing, and investigators have pressed criminal negligence charges after fatal accidents. The temptation to dump safety gear for speed is not just reckless, it can end careers, void coverage, and put lives on the line, all for a barely measurable gain. Copper-rich and organotine-based bottom paints once gave racers a nearly frictionless hull, slicing through the water while barnacles and algae slid right off. These coatings, especially those containing tributyltin or high levels of copper, are now banned under international maritime law and strict EPA regulations. The speed advantage is real. Illegal paint can keep a hull cleaner for months, translating to faster times and fewer costly haul-outs. But the environmental fallout is devastating. Toxic leachate poisons marine life and contaminates harbors for decades. Regulators have responded with six-figure fines and mandatory hull stripping for violators. They use advanced lab tests such as SEMEDX to detect even trace-banned compounds in paint chips. Mediterranean superyachts and raceboats have faced high-profile crackdowns, with seized vessels and public blacklists. The temptation to cheat for a drag-free hull now comes with a heavy price, both for the sailor and the sea. Both thrusters are meant to help with docking, not racing. But some sailors have turned this necessary feature into an illegal speed boost. They build a custom fairing over the retracted bow thruster tunnel, and they erase the drag caused by the open cavity. The result is a hull that slices through water with laminar flow restored, letting the boat pick up extra speed, sometimes enough to change a race. This modification is not only against the rules of IRC and ORC measurement systems, it also risks hidden structural weakness. Surveyors have reported cases where a poorly sealed fairing let water flood into the hull during a heavy sea, threatening the boat's safety. Inspectors look for subtle changes in hull symmetry and unusual smoothness around the bow. A skilled builder can make the cover nearly invisible. The performance gain is real, and so are the penalties if caught. Teams face measurement rejections, time penalties, and public protest. A perfectly smooth hull to rudder joint looks innocent, almost too clean. Under the surface, some racers fill the small gap between the rudder stock and the hull with a secret blend of epoxy and fairing compound. This micro-fairing trick erases a source of form drag that slows the boat by fractions of a knot. Every fraction counts when the finish line is seconds away. Class rules demand a visible clearance for safety and inspection. A well-blended epoxy seal can escape notice unless a surveyor checks with a feeler gauge or inspects for hairline cracks. The danger is hidden. If the epoxy shifts or swells, the rudder can jam solid, leaving the boat unable to steer in heavy weather. Computational fluid dynamics models show that even a millimeter-wide gap can create turbulence and drag, so the incentive is clear. Detection is tough. Inspectors look for unnatural smoothness or resistance, but the best jobs vanish into the hull's lines, leaving only a risky edge between stealth and disaster. Racing rules are strict about what lines and ropes can be used, but some crews have found ways to hide aerospace technology in plain sight. High-modulus polyethylene, called HMPE, is a fiber used in bulletproof vests and space missions. It is also banned in many racing classes because it barely stretches, holding sail shape perfectly under brutal loads. The trick is burying a forbidden HMPE core deep inside a line that looks completely ordinary on the outside. The cover is dyed to match class-approved colors, so inspectors see nothing suspicious. On the water, these lines let trimmers lock in sail tension for hours, while rivals fight a losing battle as their legal ropes slowly creep and sag. The difference is measurable. Tensile tests show that HMPE can withstand twice the load of traditional polyester before snapping. But there is a risk. If a splice fails or the core is cut, the line can whip apart with enough force to injure a crew member. After big regattas, forensic labs sometimes pull random lines and test fibers under a microscope, searching for the telltale slick white strands that signal a banned core. For those who get caught, the penalty is harsh. Disqualification, public protest, and a permanent stain on their record. Sail measurement is supposed to be a science, but some racers treat it like an art of deception. The trick starts with a sail that is recut, carefully trimmed and restitched using a false measurement point higher up the luff or leach. That simple shift adds inches to the sail's area, boosting power every time the wind fills in. Race committees rely on strict class rules that define exactly where measurements must be taken, but a single misplaced grommet or a cleverly sewn-on patch can fool even seasoned inspectors. The extra canvas translates into real speed. A few square feet can mean the difference between holding a lane upwind or slipping behind in the pack. At the highest levels, teams have been caught and penalized. A high-profile case involved Oracle Racing and their AC-45 catamaran when measurers discovered sail area outside the legal maximum, triggering public protest and disqualification threats. Sailmakers know the risks. Every recut leaves a signature, and forensic inspection of stitching and fabric stretch can reveal the cheat. Yet the temptation remains. In a sport measured by tenths of a knot, the oversized sail is a classic shortcut, easy to hide and hard to prove until someone brings out the tape and the rules get rewritten. Shaving weight from a sailboat's mast sounds simple. Just sand or grind the spar walls thinner than the manufacturer intended. The reward is obvious. Less weight aloft means a lower center of gravity, quicker acceleration, and a boat that feels livelier in every puff of wind. But the cost is hidden, and it can be catastrophic. Mast and boom sections are engineered with strict minimum wall thickness for a reason. Go too far, and the spar loses its ability to withstand the brutal compression and flexing forces of heavy sailing. In 2025, the Sunfish class faced a crisis when a new rigging technique put all the main sheet load on a single mid-boom block. The stress at that point soared past design limits, and reports of boom block pullouts and sudden failures began to surface. Class officials responded with an immediate ban and a rule rewrite, making it clear that any attempt to thin or modify spars beyond spec would be treated as a violation. Manufacturers publish detailed specs for mast and boom thickness, but the temptation to sand down just a little more remains. Inspectors now check wall thickness with ultrasonic gauges, and any sign of tampering can lead to instant disqualification. The performance boost is real, but so is the risk. Dismasting mid-race leaves a boat dead in the water and sometimes the crew in real danger. A racing yacht heels hard as the wind fills in, but something strange happens. She barely tips at all. The secret is not in the sails or the crew. It is deep inside the hull, where a hidden network of pipes and pumps quietly moves seawater from one side of the boat to the other. This is the covert ballast water pump, a forbidden upgrade that can turn an ordinary racer into a weapon. With the flip of a switch, hundreds of liters of water flood internal tanks on the windward side, shifting the boat's center of gravity and locking it upright against the force of the wind. The gain is enormous. Righting moment jumps, sail power goes straight into speed, and the boat slices upwind while rivals struggle to stay flat. Race officials know the trick, and so do the cheaters. ORC and IRC rules outlaw any form of movable ballast unless explicitly declared and measured, but the most sophisticated systems are designed to vanish after use. Pumps are mounted deep under the floorboards, hoses run through false panels, and control switches are disguised as harmless electrical toggles. Some teams have even engineered quick disconnect valves so the entire system can be removed before inspectors arrive. Forensic checks after protests sometimes turn up telltale corrosion, ghosted hose clamps, or unexplained stains inside sealed compartments. In 2016 ORC European Championship, the Italian boat Scognizza was disqualified after inspectors discovered a hidden ballast system operated by an electric pump, proof that even top teams will risk everything for an edge. But the cost of getting caught is steep. Disqualification is only the start. If a valve fails or a hose bursts mid-race, water floods the hull and a boat can sink in minutes. Insurance investigators have traced more than one total loss to tampered ballast systems. The temptation is real, so is the danger. In the world of illegal racing mods, the ballast water pump stands out: massive speed, high risk, and a trail of sunken evidence. Inside the hull of a racing sailboat, every pound counts. Some owners push the limit by cutting out structural supports, hidden stringers and liners deep behind bulkheads where inspectors rarely look. This trick can drop hundreds of pounds from the boat's weight, giving a clear speed advantage in light air and quick acceleration out of tacks. But the price is steep and often invisible until it is too late. Stringers are not just extra material, they are the backbone that stops the hull from twisting or flexing under load. Without them, the hull panels can ripple and collapse, especially when a boat slams through waves or heels hard in gusty wind. Surveyors have found evidence of this cheat during post-accident inspections. In several cases, panels caved in mid-race, leaving gaping holes and flooding that forced crews to abandon ship. Classification societies like Lloyd's and DNV have published reports on hull failures traced directly to missing or cut-down stringers. The telltale signs are a suspiciously light hull, odd flexing sounds underway, and catastrophic failure lines running along the spot where a support should have been. Insurance investigations and claims files reveal that some owners tried to hide the modification with carefully glued panels or paint, but the damage always tells the real story. Detecting a hidden cavity is not simple. Visual checks miss what is behind bulkheads. The only way to be sure is with non-destructive testing, ultrasound thickness mapping, endoscopic cameras snake through inspection ports, or tapping for hollow sounds with a mallet. Professional surveyors rely on these tools when a boat's weight seems too good to be true. If a hidden cavity is found, the fallout is immediate: disqualification from races, insurance denial, and in some cases lawsuits for negligence. The temptation to cut corners for speed is real, but so is the risk. When structural integrity is sacrificed, a boat can go from race winner to total loss in a single wave. The race begins, and the old boat surges ahead, holding its line even as the wind howls and rival hulls heel hard. The secret is not in the sails or the crew's timing. It is hidden deep in the keel, where a few extra kilograms of lead or tungsten sit buried below the official measurement point. This is the submerged keel bulb, the ultimate illegal upgrade, concealed where only a forensic inspection can find it. By adding dense mass as low as possible in the bulb, a sailor can push the center of gravity down, dramatically increasing the righting moment. The effect is unmistakable on the water. The boat stands up straighter, carries more sail, and powers through gusts while others broach or round up. On paper, the boat passes measurement, unless someone brings out a magnetometer or demands a full weigh-in with the bulb removed. Naval architects know the physics. Righting moment is the kingmaker in heavy air. For every centimeter the weight sits lower, the force holding the boat upright multiplies. That means more power can be turned into forward speed, not wasted fighting heel. But the deeper the cheat, the greater the risk. Adding unmeasured weight changes the stress on the keel bolts and the hull structure. If the attachment points are not engineered for the extra load, the keel can start to flex, or worse, tear free. There is a grim history here. Boats lost at sea after catastrophic keel failures, where later forensic dives revealed modifications that never appeared on the official plans. In a handful of high-profile disasters, crews were left clinging to overturned hulls, investigators finding telltale signs of unauthorized ballast or welds made in secret. Detection is a game of cat and mouse. Some race committees now require full three-dimensional scans of the keel bulb before and after events, searching for density anomalies. Others use portable magnetometers to hunt for hidden lead, or demand ultrasonic thickness mapping to catch any welded-on plates. The stakes are enormous. A single protest backed by measurement data can void a season's results and trigger legal action. In the most serious cases, criminal fraud charges have been filed, especially when a modification is linked to an accident. Insurance investigators are relentless. If a boat sinks and the keel is found to be overweight or altered, any claim is dead on arrival. The temptation to cheat the keel is as old as racing itself. Some of the most famous One Design classes have rewritten their rules again and again to close loopholes, from the international One Design to the Soling and Dragon fleets. Each time a new trick is discovered, measurement protocols tighten, and the arms race between builders and inspectors intensifies. Yet for every rule, there is someone willing to push past it, hiding tungsten slugs in resin or filling cavities with molten lead, all for a shot at speed no legal boat can match. The submerged keel bulb stands apart from every other secret on this list. It is the most concealed, the hardest to detect, and the most dangerous, because it turns the very foundation of the boat into a gamble. When it works, the gains are undeniable. But when it fails, the cost is measured in lives, reputations, and sometimes criminal records. The final word belongs to the measurers and the forensic teams, whose job is to keep the playing field level and the water safe. As long as the rewards for winning outweigh the risks, the battle over ballast will not end. And somewhere, in a quiet boatyard or a midnight workshop, another keel is being loaded, weighed, and welded, ready to fly or to fail. Across all 10 secrets, one pattern stands out: speed and victory. Push sailors to risk everything, including safety, legality, and the integrity of the sport. These hidden modifications reveal that, even on the open sea, competition breeds innovation and deception in equal measure. The real race is not just against other boats, it is against the rules themselves. How far would you go to win? Drop your thoughts below.